everybody. This is Robert People of RobertPeople.com, and you are listening to People's Court. Thank you for joining. Today is Wednesday, April 29th, 2020. A lot of folks are questioning the coronavirus statistics. The numbers being put out, the latest numbers are in the photo of this podcast here. I don't have the specific numbers in my head, but I know the number of deaths are close to 60,000. The cases have exceeded 1 million in the United States, and so forth. Along with pair this up with a lot of impatient individuals who are ready to get back to some sense of normalcy, to not be locked down anymore, for it to ignore the suggestions to stay in place and so forth. With all that, it becomes easy to question anything, and then conspiracy theorists, they're always going to be out there. And of course, with some random person coming along, a group of people coming along to say, hey, this isn't true, and then they throw some stuff together, and next thing you know, okay, here's a reason for us not to believe data. My question is simple, very simple. If you are someone who does not believe the data that's being presented by these professional organizations, then what are the real numbers? Now, I'm not asking for specific to the, exactly down to the 1, 2, exact number. But how about an estimate? An estimate. How many deaths are being fabricated? An estimate of that as well. People have said, well, a lot of deaths are being classified as coronavirus when that's not really what happened. Fair enough. What about, let me see, what else do we have? These are their heart attacks. People are dying of, the flu. They're dying of just other ailments that, that have always been around. But it's believed that folks are just saying, hey, that these hospitals are calling them coronavirus deaths when that's not what's happening. But what do you have? What are those numbers then? What's your estimate? And all this needs to be backed up by facts and by evidence. Okay? Please do not, and this is how it works in America, hunches do not equal evidence. My hunch, my thought, my belief, I think, my opinion is I'm so fierce in this, I really believe that does not equal evidence. There's nothing wrong with having opinions and having your beliefs and having your thoughts, but that's not the same. That does not equate to hard evidence. And other people said it's not evidence. This is a messed up time for us, to say the least. And passing along nonsense is not helping. It's not helping. I know that this is out of, let's just be honest about this. This is out of the president's playbook, Trump's playbook of fake news. If I don't like it, I'm just going to say it's not real. And that's as far as I need to go with it. I don't need to provide any evidence. I don't need to prove anything. I'll just say it's fake and call it a day. And that, it doesn't seem to be far from that. People are saying, okay, the numbers aren't real and so on. And I asked that question. It's okay, well, if it's not real here, then give me something else. And they'll say, no, I don't have anything real. And this is data we're talking about. This is data. This is data. None of us can do the work ourselves, so there has to be some level of trust that we have to exercise in order to understand what's going on. However, if we question everything, how do we get from not trusting to getting the actual facts? And that's where conspiracy theorists come in. If I can get you as a conspiracy theorist, if I can get you to not trust this, I can tell you anything. That's how it works. I could tell you anything. Because as long as you don't trust what's out there, or as long as you don't trust what's being told to you, I could go anywhere with it. That's why conspiracy theories and theorists are dangerous. And the sad thing is so many people are falling for it. So many people are going for it. Simply because you don't trust the government. Simply because you don't trust the data that's being put out about the deaths from the coronavirus. That becomes very harmful. If you do not trust, there should be something there to say, I don't trust because of this right here. And if these numbers aren't correct, let me tell you what they really are based on A, B, and C. I can go with that. I can live with that, kind of. Not just, hey, don't trust the data, but trust me. Why should I trust you? What do you have that gives me something to trust, straight up? There are, again, we're at something like 59,000 in the United States. Over the course of, I don't even know if it's been 2 months yet. And if it is, we just hit that number. Where are we? Where are we if that's not a real number? If that's not legitimate? Where are we? What are you adding to the conversation? What are you adding to the discussion if that's not it? Imagine going to court, being accused of something, and you're found guilty because the judge had a hunch that you did it. The prosecution had a hunch that you did it. They thought that you did it. They didn't trust that someone else didn't do it, so they just say, hey, I got a hunch that it was you, so yeah, that's it. Imagine that. Wouldn't that be kind of nasty? Would that be pretty lousy? Like, hey, whoa, you got a hunch that I did it, and that's it? That's all you need? But it's the same thing here. You have a hunch that it's not the right numbers, and that's what we're supposed to go with? Data is being presented by a professional organization. We're in this age of trying to question everything, and we should just trust you as a random person saying, oh, that's not the right numbers. And on top of it, you don't give what the real numbers are, or any semblance of what, and no estimate, none of that. And there's all kinds of tricks people use to get around that, because everyone doesn't just simply say, "Hey, trust me." Don't trust numbers, trust me. No, people are clever about it. People are clever about it. I have a friend on Facebook who posted yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, that the numbers now exceed the deaths we've had during the Vietnam War. And of course, people come along. So people have come along to question whether that's legitimate or not. And there's nothing wrong with questioning. But again, you can't you can't change facts to opinion. I'm sorry, you can't change opinions to fact. You can't call something an opinion or a fact if it's your opinion, if you don't have anything to back it up. And what comes across is that what you're saying when you don't trust, you're essentially saying, yeah, don't trust this data that you got from this professional organization, but trust me. Okay, well, where do you get your numbers from? Well, I don't want to. This person told me. This person in the medical field told me it was like this. Okay, who was it? Who said it? Well, I want to say who it is. That's sort of what happened there. And no, you don't have to always tell who told you something, but if you're using something they've said, why not? Why not say, well, this person? Because again, how much you can see how that would be, that would bring about skepticism, right? Don't trust the data. Don't trust this person putting out data. But trust me saying I don't trust the data. Trust me in saying this person or people told me this. I'm not going to tell you who they are, though. But you need to just trust me in when I say that. That doesn't, you can see why that would be, people would be kind of weary of that, right? Even people in the medical field are coming out. People in the medical field have nothing to gain or lose in all this. Okay, in general, they have, I mean, plenty to lose, of course, because they're trying to make sure these people are staying okay. But there's no political gain for the people, for folks in the medical field. They're not. They don't have a dog in the fight either way. They have to come and they have to do a job. Their job is to save. Now, you might find an example here or there, but if medical personnel are telling you this is how it's going, I'm trusting them. They're the ones who are there. If you're sitting at the house saying you don't like the numbers because of who it's coming from and because, oh yeah, by the way, it makes our president look silly, that's not evidence. I'm sorry, that's not proof. That's not evidence. You don't get to change the facts because you don't like them. Facts will stay facts. Facts don't ask for permission to be facts. Facts don't exist to try to hurt people and destroy them. Facts are just, hey, facts are just there. We need evidence, people. You're not adding anything productive to the conversation if you're just saying that's not real. That's fake. Those numbers are fake. Because of course you could just say that forever. If they're not real today, you're going to say they're not real tomorrow. You're going to say they're not real next week. And one individual, the individual I was just speaking about, said that that they would believe it once we come sort of to the end of this and, you know, the numbers are revealed at that point. But if you don't trust the numbers now, what would make you trust them later? What would have to happen? And that's where I'm specifically at. This is where I am specifically. What would have to change to get you to believe what they're putting out there? Do the numbers have to drop so low that it fits in with the concept of the flu being worse? Because that's what's going around too. This is worse than the flu. Actually, it's not. I'm sorry, it is worse than the flu. Nope, let me say that again. What's going around, I said that completely backwards. What's going around is the flu is worse than this. The flu is worse than this. Do the numbers have to drop? Because right now, this has exceeded the flu. That's what I meant to say. This has exceeded where the flu is, where flu numbers are. And we're talking about in 2 months, not even in the course of a year. We've exceeded flu deaths for a year in only 2 months. So do the numbers have to drop so low that the flu numbers go back up above and now it's like, oh, see? Okay, now I trust them. Because then now we can go back to this notion of the flu being worse than this. Or this being quote unquote like the flu. What would have to change? Because the fact of the matter is people are dying. People are dying of this. Now, if pre-existing conditions, and this is what people have to understand too, if other conditions existed, but this sort of put you over the top and got you there, it's still the coronavirus that contributed to it. It's just like I was confused about this for a while years ago when it came to as far as AIDS was concerned. Because a lot of people thought that AIDS itself is what kills people. And AIDS itself is not what kills you. AIDS destroys your immune system to where you get sick from anything, you die from that. But AIDS is still the cause of it. AIDS still led to that. You don't hear people, oh, he died. I mean, you'll say, oh, yeah, they died. That person died of AIDS. Oh, no, they didn't die of AIDS. They died of a cold. They caught a cold. But it was during the time that their immune system was destroyed by AIDS. Does that make sense? Hope that makes sense to you all. So if coronavirus was in combination of something that this person already had and it caused complications, it is still the coronavirus that led to their death. Coronavirus still did it. Coronavirus is causing things to happen too. I believe I read something where it was a few days back, and it was common, so I didn't take it and write it down and put it here and so forth. It's caused asthma to be worse. It has caused what else? contributed to heart attacks, to seizures, to, what was it, strokes, and so on. So it's doing a lot. It's doing a lot. We can't get away from, and I'll wrap up on this, but we can't get away from the fact that in the United States, we've handled this in about the worst possible way. Worst possible way. There's nothing to refute the fact that the president was briefed on this. The president was briefed on this. I haven't seen anything to refute that. Whether another friend said that this has been around longer than we've known of, so it's really not on the president. Yeah, it is. It's not on, the United States. It's not on the president. Anything to get the president off the hook, and it's nonsense. Even if I was to believe that, even if that was, if we went with that concept, did the president himself not come out and say this was a Democratic hoax? Did the president not himself on video, when we had something like 15 cases, wasn't he the one who said, we're going to quickly get down to zero? Wasn't he the one on video saying it'll be gone by April? He takes care of it. Didn't he say all that? Well, we're almost in May. And there's no flattening of the curve. The numbers haven't gone down everywhere. And real quick, one comment I have about flattening the expression flattening the curve. I think quite a few, to include our governor here in Florida, like to use that term because they don't think people know what it means. When the numbers are constantly going up, that's not flattening any curve. So why is that being said? It shouldn't be said that we're flattening any curve if the numbers are constantly increasing. Don't treat your people like they're stupid. Florida governor and federal government. Your people know what they're talking, what's going on. But if you're going to add that you don't believe the numbers that are being put out, that's fine. So you give us what those real numbers are. Give us some estimate. Give us something approximate. Don't just give us the random friend, because that's another thing. Random people. This is what happens. It's this person told me. That person told me. I know everybody who works I know everybody that works in this hospital, and all of them said the same thing. It's always some excessive thing. It's always extreme. Everybody, my whole family, everybody in my family, and my wife's family, everybody's doctors. All of them are. Every last one of them works in the medical field. Some people, yes, go that far with it. And I have to laugh at that. I'm sorry. I have to laugh at that because it's so extreme. You just look at it like, do you hear what you sound like right now? Everybody you know, everybody you've talked to, it's always everybody. Very few things have happened where everybody I talked to said the same thing. Very few. That's rare. Because so many different people, everybody's not going to say the same thing. But when you come back and everybody I've ever talked to, boy, all of them say these numbers are fake. Every last one of them, huh? When you're talking to me and I'm saying they're not fake. So, there you go. But if you don't have any type of estimate or approximate or anything with facts, with evidence to back it up, I'm sorry, but you're not adding anything productive to the discussion. You're causing more problems than solutions. This is Robert People of RobertPeople.com. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you back here on Friday.